Hey guys,
I'm Jerry.
I'm Sierra.
We're ladies.
And we tangent.
What's up, everyone? Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Everyone, we have Heather Brooker with us.
Hi,
We're so
ladies.
excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I don't even know how to fully introduce you because there's so many, you wear so many hats.
Yes.
I know I shouldn't. I probably shouldn't. Listen, I've been excited about this show all day because I've been listening to your show and I've been like in my mind having my own tangents while like mentally preparing for your show. And I'm like, we could go in any direction. I've got to be ready.
That's what I said yesterday when I was emailing with your assistant. Is that who I was talking to?
Publicist.
Yes. Okay. Well, I wanted to die yesterday because
Oh no. You're like, who is Heather Brooker?
No, not even that. No.
We just made a mistake. We did
Because
an oopsie.
I was trying to share the link in order for us to have this conversation.
Uh-huh.
And in true me being butt shit at technology fashion, I went to copy and paste the link, but instead I just copied her email and sent it back to her. And she emailed me and goes, "That is my own email address." And I responded, I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm really mortified at this moment. Here's the correct link. I now need to go disappear into the woods for 3 days. Please respect my privacy."
Hide my face in shame.
Honestly, though, she probably thought it was really funny. Like, you know,
Thank God.
We're all busy, professional ladies. Like, things like that happen.
Yeah.
I had the worst experience one
hope
time, like
so.
on a resume when I was applying for a job. I wrote, had a certain air shift at work, and I wrote the word air shit on my resume. Spell check is essential.
Amazing.
Double check your work. I tell my daughter this all the time. Double check. I have never been so embarrassed. I sent that out to employers.
Words like that wouldn't come up as like underlined though.
Yeah.
So like I have to go back through and read it, and I can't be bothered to read. If I can't trust technology to check it for me,
It's not happening.
it's not my problem anymore. That's the world's concern. And then we sat down here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you were going to tell this part.
I am going to tell this part. We sat down here and we're just sitting on kind of like how we are now. And again, your publicist emails and she goes, "Just double checking that it's 1 p.m. PT
Pacific time
and not ET because the invite says ET." And I went,
Yes,
absolutely.
We totally knew that as we're sitting here prepared at 1 p.m. Eastern time.
So we go, "You want to go get a beer?"
We did. Full disclosure, we did go to a bar across the street. So
As you should. As you should.
We thought the research we did, we thought you'd understand. You'd be cool.
So this is the Tipsy Tangent podcast. This is what you're telling me right now. It's a little tipsy and tangents.
A little bit.
Well,
She's got a coffee now. I do still have a beer, and I'm sorry.
I like an upper and a downer simultaneously.
That's perfect.
But you got a downer then an upper.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
I think it still levels out. I don't know.
You guys are going to have your Elvis
However.
moment. Yeah.
Oh, no.
That got dark.
Which
I'm
Elvis
so
moment?
sorry.
Am I going to go die on the toilet?
I just went like really dark there. I'm sorry. We've just met and I'm talking about dead people. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's
Welcome to it.
Yeah.
In our bathroom right now, there's a cross stitch that someone sent us that said "Dead Grandma's Club." So
Nice.
There's death in our bathroom.
that is
Nice.
appropriate here.
I love it.
Welcome, first of all. You seem awesome. Like, I just want to say that off the bat. Thank you so much.
So I know that you are an actress. You are a host. You have a podcast with your family. Like, if you were now to get on and be like, "This is who I am," which one of those would you even lead with?
Tell the listeners.
All the above?
All the above. I usually lead with I'm an actor because that's what I want to do more of. And that's sort of what that's like what I really love to do is acting and performing. But I've, like a lot of actors, it's really hard to make a steady living, that's why we got a strike going on and all that stuff right now. It's really hard to make a steady living as an actor. And so you find yourself doing other things and like exploring other, ways to make money and that sort of thing. So, and on top of that, though, I'm also a reporter and a journalist. So I've done that. Like that's been my steady job. What helps me support my acting habit, basically. For many, many years. So I usually tell people I'm an actor and comedian, and then follow it up with, and also Emmy Award Winning Journalist, which is okay. It's not
so
that
awesome. Yeah. Hey, but like you gotta.
Hey, those things are heavy.
Big ups.
See, look, I got it right here.
Oh,
just in case.
This old thing.
Just in case it doesn't come up in conversation, I humbly present to you my actual Emmys that are behind me. What a jerk. I'm so full of it.
No.
Hey,
put it up.
Yes,
listen,
we need it.
As soon as we get one, we're
doing it.
We're
right
gonna
here.
replace whoever this guy is
Right.
so fast with any kind of accolade.
Do it.
Or we'll stay.
If we win an award ever, it's going right there.
Yeah. Or the tits will come down. No, listen, I hope that you never stop leading with stuff like that, because not only is it taboo in society for anyone to like pat themselves on the back for the shit that they worked hard for, but as a woman,
I was going to say,
it's like, no, make yourself small, be humble. Yeah. Don't make other people feel uncomfortable.
Don't be humble.
No.
You did amazing things.
Yes.
Thank you.
What a beautiful example, for your daughter and everyone else.
Yes.
Yeah. We do that to ourselves, don't we? Because there's this fear that if you talk about your accomplishments or celebrate your accomplishments, that you're sort of bragging about them. And, to be honest, I do probably brag about them more than I probably should. But
you deserve to.
But there is that sort of idea that like we as women can't tout our accomplishments, and without people being like, oh my God, who does she think she is? But men do it all the time where they're like,
all the time.
I make fire or whatever,
Yeah. There are literal like degrees where people assign extra letters to their name and they like only refer to themselves as like Dr. So-and-so. And it's like, okay.
I would like to be referred to as Emmy Award winning so-and-so. How about that?
Hell yeah.
Whenever I walk into a room, this is how I would like to be announced.
You need to present me.
Please do. I was listening to a lot of your episodes today, and one of them, you said that you give your full name when you introduce yourself to people because you want people to know, like, this is my full name. And if you look me up or you see it mentioned somewhere, like, I want you to associate it, because there are so many Heathers in the world, but there's only one Heather Brooker, as far as I know.
That's true.
Yeah, that we Googled.
Or like you that's who you are.
Yeah, and also like you're your own biggest cheerleader, you guys. Like you have to, build yourself up and share about yourself. And it's, it all goes back to like sharing on social media. It feels kind of icky and gross sometimes, but like it's a big part of building a brand, building who you are. And as an actor and someone in the performance space, I feel like I always have to tell people I'm Heather Brooker. I'm not Heather McDonald. I'm not, Heather Locklear. Like I'm Heather Brooker. Like, so
my sister.
Right. But also there is a porn star with the name Heather Brooke. And I feel the need to make sure I always differentiate between us so all of our fans won't be confused. No, I'm
yes, that's probably it's definitely important.
And so
all those people Googling her won't be like, wait a minute, who's this lady?
Hold on a second.
She does comedy as well?
She's amazing.
Jack of all trades.
She calls herself I think she calls herself the blowjob queen. So
wow.
That's quite a title.
Right?
One would say as good as the Emmy Award winning.
You could say on par. They're pretty much equal.
I would say tomato, or whatever they say. But you started a podcast with your family, right?
Yes.
And this was within the last year?
Yeah, we started it earlier this year in late February, early March. And it sort of came out of this idea, like I have a 10-year-old and my husband and I have been married for 22 years. And it came out of this idea that we love, thanks. We love, and congratulations, by the way, to you guys for just getting married. Like, what?
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you still, you're still definitely in like the honeymoon phase for sure, huh?
So much. Yeah.
Well,
it's
they do
gross.
have almost a 2-year-old together.
And I also have an 11, almost 12-year-old from another relationship. But like, so I thought that we couldn't get into a honeymoon stage. I was like, we've been together 6 years.
No.
We have a child together. We've been raising my son together since he was 5. Wrong. There is definitely a honeymoon stage that you get in after the marriage. That's just like,
let's just say,
let's love each other.
Heather Brooke has some competition.
That's
for
right.
title.
That's right.
This one over here.
Everyone's going to be Googling Heather Brooke right now. And she's going to be like, why is my IMDb rating going up?
Everyone's turned off.
It's us, girl.
I feel like what a weird double transition from that back to your family yet again.
Anyway, speaking of children.
So your husband.
No, my family and I, like I'm sure like a lot of people, we love watching movies and television shows. My daughter is obsessed with Roblox and video games and that sort of thing.
So it's my son.
I was going to say, if you have a tween, then you know. And
yes,
we were looking for something to listen to together as a family when we're on road trips. That wasn't like, there's a ton of podcasts that are like trivia and stuff like that, but we wanted something to listen to as a family that where we could talk about like movies and TV shows that we love watching together, stuff that just my husband and I like, that is also kind of funny and engaging. And, so we just was like, why don't we just record our conversations and let's see how it goes. So we started the Brooker Family Popcast, and it's just been a blast. Like we're just having so much fun together. We're in between season 2 and 3 right now. We're taking a break at the beginning of the school year and we got to get back into it because you guys know consistency is key in podcasting. Like you got to keep cranking out the episodes, but it's just been a blast. Like it's so fun to hear her take on like, she's a big Marvel movie fan, so I love to hear her perspective because kids have a different perspective on some of the movies and TV shows that we watch, and it's, we've had guests on, like celebrity guests that have come on to talk about their shows, and it's just fun. It's just another way for us to sort of bond as a family.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
So Sierra and I are cousins, and we were born 9 days apart. We were raised together, and like before anyone ever even heard of our podcast, it was just like something that we have together, and even if no one ever listened to it, our children would have it someday. So when I was listening to you guys speak, it was almost like, how special is it that these conversations are preserved for your lifetime, like to have these moments. Like I think very few people would have such moments recorded, conversations with their parents or with their child.
Yes.
And
I was going to ask you too, when you started it, did you notice a difference in Channing? Because Channing being your daughter, for anyone who doesn't know, did you notice a difference? Because in that space, she's almost like your equal because she's your co-host, where at home there's that like societal parent-child dynamic
around more. You know what we did? We made a very conscious decision when we decided to do the show to include her in part of the producing side of the show. She picks the topics that she talks about. She also picks what TV shows or movies that she wants to recommend, because we want her to feel a sense of ownership over this, because I don't ever want her to look back and be like, oh, my mom made me do this podcast. It's not like that at all. My daughter is also an actor and performer. So she's got that side of her that she loves to talk and she loves to be, like a part of a conversation. So we very much involve her in every aspect of the show. And so she feels a sense of ownership of it. And if there's ever in terms of like, if I noticed a change in her, I think at first she was being really silly and really like, she was 9 when we first started. So she was just like, whatever. She thought it was just sort of going out into the ether, but now her friends watch it. And she's like, oh, this is so cool. My friends actually watch it and they listen to it. So she tries very hard to make references and things that she thinks they will appreciate. So I feel like if anything, she's become more invested in making a good show, if that makes any sense. Like she wants it to be
beautiful.
good. That is
really beautiful
to like it. Yeah.
And I will say, as somebody who also has a child very close in age, I feel like that's such an important, like that level of showing them
ownership.
Yeah, maturity a little bit.
Yeah.
It's really nice to have a fun way to be like, hey, this is something you're responsible for. It is something that it kind of matters, but you have control over it in a fun way that's not so daunting and scary. And I love that. I think that's so cool.
And it's not like I'm like, we have to do these episodes. You have to come in here and do this. It's not like that. And I think if it ever becomes that, then that's our sign to kind of like wrap it up and not do it anymore. But I think as long as she's enjoying it and she feels like she's a part of the process, then she's learning from it too. She's, like you said, she's learning responsibility. She's learning. She also takes the time to like research her topics. Like if she's going to talk about a Roblox game, she wants to make sure she's saying everything right and talking about it. So it kind of, it sounds corny to be like, she's kind of learning stuff because that's not really our intention, but that's sort of become like a side effect of it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll say that in the beginning of this podcast, that wasn't my intention for myself. But the amount that I've learned kind of
Isn't
picking
that
up that role. Yeah, because I'm like, I want to sound like I know what I'm talking about a little bit, like when we present things that I feel are important. And then I'm like, man, I feel like I've grown and learned a lot through this, more so potentially than when I was in school.
Side effect is definitely the right word for that.
Yeah. It didn't happen on purpose, but it was a happy accident that came from it.
Sure.
And I noticed too, when you're talking about Roblox, she was telling you guys about like the servers, the private servers or whatever. So like only the friends could be involved in it. We were talking today about how the internet kind of came up when we were young and there was all of this like confusion and it like skyrocketed in its capabilities and access. But there was a lot of, I don't know if you experienced this, but a lot of shame that surrounded it where it was like you had to do things in secrecy because you're like, I don't want my parents to know that I'm in this chat room where I'm like,
because it was so new, I felt like it was like labeled as bad right off the bat. It was like, I don't understand that, so it's not good. Don't do that. And we're like, I'm going to.
So I wonder if you feel are you noticing like a difference having a child who is online and has an online presence and like creating that healthy dynamic of conversation?
Well, this is something that I've thought a lot about. My husband and I have talked a lot about. But for me, I am chronically online. Like I live my life and share a lot about my life, highlights of my life, I should say. Making the decision to allow her to be a part of that was not something I took lightly. So she like has her own Instagram, but she doesn't have access to it. If there's something she wants to post, we do it together and we walk through it together. We talk about what's appropriate, what's not. Because here's the deal. And I think for a long time, I was like, no social media, no internet. Like, I'm never going to let her do that. I was one of those obnoxious moms that was like, I would never. Yep. And then like the pandemic hit and everything went out the window and we were like, give her the iPad.
She's
what we've learned. What we've learned now is that the internet and social media aren't going anywhere. So I would rather equip her with the knowledge and the understanding now of what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, with limitations, and also try to build up some trust with her. So, because my biggest fear is that she might hide something from us or be too afraid to share something with us that might get her in trouble or her friends in trouble or whatever. And she will have nowhere to turn to. So I'd rather build up the trust and the understanding of this is a tool. It is not the end all be all. Social media, the internet is not the end all be all. It's a tool for research. It's a tool for marketing. It's a tool for your life, but it is not where you should live and you should be. So that's kind of the approach that we're taking to social media with her, but she definitely does not have unfettered access to it and won't for some time.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point too, because I saw somebody say, again, the internet's not going anywhere. And so the parents that potentially are like you don't get any access to any internet for a while are unfortunately putting their children behind, because there's going to be jobs that come out that are going to be social media marketing.
Focused,
Like it's such a big part of our lives. So I think that's kind of a brilliant way to do that. I'm also trying to navigate it. I love that I get to talk to you, because I'm in that stage too, where I was a very young mom to Noah. So now I'm like, I gotta do all these things.
Know what to do.
He's almost 12, and like
and I feel like
scary.
a lot of times protecting them equaled sheltering them.
Like, I'm just gonna cut you off from this, but we have kind of, especially with TikTok, I mean, he only gets on mine with me. We do all social media together, which I think is important, but it is scary. He wants, in the early days of the podcast, we had him on because we didn't think anybody was listening, and so we're like, it doesn't matter.
We didn't have him physically on.
No, and he was just on over the microphone. But like now he begs to be on, and I'm so worried. It's almost like I don't know where to go.
To the dynamic of our podcast is not child friendly.
100%.
So we were saying again today that like in the podcast space,
it is.
There's not a lot of in between. There's, like you were saying, when you that you couldn't find something for all of you to enjoy. There's like stuff where it's like, don't listen around your kids, or it's so
like Miss Rachel baby focused.
Juvenile.
Which I love her, but like
that's ultimately why we started the show, because it was all like baby stories and count your fingers and story time stuff, or like quizzes,
for parents
or
of teens or tweens.
There's
nothing,
lot. And like all the comedy shows are, a lot of swears and stuff like that, which is fine. I love swearing. It's an amazing feeling. But like if you're listening, like you said, there's no in between. Like maybe you want to like have pop something on in the car while you're on a road trip with your kid, and you don't want to listen to the kid centric learning, like educational focused podcasts. You want to listen to a funny family talk about farts or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of why we started it. We were like, there's just really nothing else like it. And I'm so glad that Channing is a part of it and feels a sense of ownership and pride in it. She's very proud to tell people, like, I have my own podcast and we talk about movies and Roblox, and, so it's like, it's really cool for me to watch her grow in that way. And if there's ever a time when she doesn't want to do it anymore, or that, like I said, if we decide it's just not, good for her, like if kids start making fun of her, which could happen, then we can, we have ownership over it. We can just say, okay, we're done, wrap it up and move on to the next fun thing. So
I think that it's really, really beautiful that you created something that you needed. There was something when I was a teacher that I had at my desk that said, be who you needed when you were younger. Mm-hmm. And so even when we started, I was like, I don't want to do one thing because I don't want to pigeonhole us. I want to talk about whatever we want to talk about, just whatever is coming up. And that, I feel like, put us in a really good position because we can cover so many different things. And I feel like for you guys, it's a beautiful example for other, like a dialogue starter for other families. And hearing Channing respond to you guys and involve you guys in stuff that sometimes kids don't think their parents care about allows parents to like form a similar bridge with their kids.
And I don't mean to harp on this too much, but like it is such that age to me when I was in it was the hardest age to be at, that the age that she's at, from anywhere from like 9 to like 14, 15. And I also feel parenting now, that has been my most difficult age to parent in.
It's very not a girl, not yet a woman.
Yeah, it's so hard. And again, you don't have a lot that's marketed towards them. Like it's so either you're a child or you're a full adult. So I do really love that there's like
providing that.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that there was a show, the Babysitters Club, that they had on, gosh, I think it was Netflix maybe. And it was geared towards that age group. And they canceled it after only like a couple of seasons. And there was so much pushback from parents.
Were there books that it was about?
I think it was based on the books.
I feel like A book series, because I read the book series and I remember seeing it when I was a tween. I remember reading the Babysitter Club's books.
Yeah.
And then when I saw it was coming out, I was so excited. And then I went to look for it and it was gone.
It's gone. Yeah, because there's just nothing for that age group. Like so much is geared towards younger kids and new babies, preschool age, like helping them learn, which is great. Yeah. But what about the parents whose kids get to like 9-10 years old and we're going like, oh my gosh, 1 minute she's like, you know, my sweet angel baby, and the next minute she's the devil's butthole. What do I do? Who is this kid? Like she's going through a lot of emotions, a lot of changes, and I want to be supportive of her in the best way possible. But also still parent her and make sure she knows like some behaviors are not okay. And like, it's a lot to navigate, and there's just not as much, especially in pop culture and books and anything for tweens.
Yeah.
Age.
I think that's why we are very, very attached to Boy Meets World.
Oh God.
Like so very attached.
I sure am.
And I don't know that I've ever seen a show that focuses growing up as accurately as it did
from like, I think he started in middle school. That was when it started.
Middle school to college. And they dealt with real stuff. Like there was shows where Sean had a drinking problem or
I don't love that you looked at me like,
no, I was looking
as I'm taking a drink.
I mean,
there was vandalism.
Hey, listen.
So, and I think that those are all things in adolescence.
Sean joined a cult.
Yes.
That's a real thing that could happen.
But it's more so that like kids are vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're going to find a place where they want to feel accepted. And again, going back to Channing talking about the private servers is like, okay, I can create a space like that for my friends that is age appropriate and safe and online, you know, like up with the times, whatever the kids are doing. Right. So I just think it's really cool to give that example.
Because again, also wildly in some of these apps, they're the movement, like the young, the teens to the tweens to the teens. They're running it. And then I'll try to, I'm like, oh my God, I don't feel geriatric until I'm in those spaces.
Yes. Until she's I'm like, Mom, that's not what this means. Or they're showing you stuff. They're going to be showing us stuff. And I'm like, what? Like, how do I do this? And I consider myself to be pretty technologically savvy, but there was something the other day, I can't remember, but she had to show me what to do. And I was like, oh my God. Oh, I literally have this picture. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's backwards, but it says, this is her as a baby. And it says, someday I'm going to know more about computers than you.
And today was that day.
It happened, guys. It's happening.
That's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Listen, really that is my son all the way. Oh my God. When he talks to me about technology, I swear my mind, I'm like focusing, but it's blank. And I'm like,
You're just like, I'm zoned out. I don't know what he's saying.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but yes, that sounds great.
I have another question. I have so many questions for you.
Lay it on
I guess that's why they call it an interview, I guess. But so a lot of your segments are focused around pop culture. And in the beginning, it was a lot of TV and movies. But since the strike happened, you guys were kind of being respectful of like, all right, we're not going to talk about certain things in, you know, what's that word? Not alliance?
Allegiance?
Yes, there it is. I pledge allegiance to the
strike. To the union.
That's very like the South will rise again.
Let's hope not. Let's hope the hell not.
Let's hope not.
But my question was, did you find that difficult, since that was like a lot of what you spoke about, to pivot?
Yeah, so that's been also part of the reason why we're on a little bit of a break right now, is because so much of our content is based on like movies and television shows that we're recommending that people watch together, either as a couple, as a family, or whatever. And, you know, I've been a member of the Screen Actors Guild for almost 16 years. And so I'm very much like standing by the union and support of the strike, and they've asked us not to promote shows. So I'm kind of want to, follow that as much as I can.
Yeah.
And we all just sort of realized, so that's why we had one episode that was totally dedicated to music. My husband is a music expert,
which I love.
Nice.
Yeah, he used to be a radio DJ,
Yes.
so he was like, yes, let's talk about music, let's talk about cover songs, all this stuff. And then
He has the best voice for that too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think
DJ.
so too. I mean,
yes, I was like, in a world where no one wants to give a white man a mic, he has a beautiful voice.
Oh my God, I'm totally gonna tell him that you said that. Oh my God, I'm totally
put that on like a monogram and put it on your wall.
Yes.
Put that shit on a pillow.
We need it. It needs to be on a t-shirt. I'm gonna get him that for Christmas, you guys. That's so perfect. So perfect. No, I love that though, because he used to be a radio DJ, and he was like, and we're older. I'm Gen X, so like he was in radio back when the DJs could like pick the music that they wanted to play and like really hype up a band, and discover a new artist and that sort of thing. So for him, music is a very special place. We're all in his heart and in our hearts. So yeah, like he's definitely got that radio DJ voice. So we're trying to navigate things as best we can. We're hoping, because the SAG and AMPTP are meeting right now, and WGA just made a deal last week. We're hoping that means that there's one coming in the next coming weeks. Fingers crossed, for the Screen Actors Guild, and we can end the strike and like get back to our show. But if not, we're gonna just pivot and like talk about maybe more video games, maybe other like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Like is it weird that I'm weirdly obsessed with this situation?
We love it.
I'll tell you right now,
married woman, I'm obsessed. It's so strange.
We just half of our lunch was talking about that, because I can't get enough. I'm not even really a Swiftie. I mean, I love Taylor Swift, don't get me wrong. But I'm not
footy
or a footballer. Like, my husband loves football, and so this was just a way he was watching the Chiefs because fantasy football, and I was like, I would love to watch that game with you. I'm going to watch that. To me, I said I felt like it was very rom-com in real life. Like, I'm watching a real life comedy or romantic thing, but like with the
football
the
star
way that they look at
and
each other,
and the Glee Club member, like that's sort of what it is. Like, did you do the TikTok trend on him where you say like that Taylor Swift put him on the map?
Yeah, I have it. I have it as a draft, and it was so cute. He didn't do it as well. I mean, he was really cute about it, because he was like, what are you talking about? He's one of the greatest tight ends of all time. And he was like, but Taylor Swift is pretty awesome. She's kind of like almost a billionaire. Like, I get why. You know what I mean? So he just went full.
That's so funny.
He went full Swiftie.
My husband doesn't care about sports at all. I often say, like, if the draft as like the Army draft was still a thing, they'd come to our house and send me instead of him. So I think that if I asked him that, he would be like, that is crazy. He would fully go like,
he did put him on the map.
Not only that, but also ranch. So good for her.
Also, seemingly ranch. Did you guys do the Roman Empire trend? Because I did that with my husband, and he goes, no, I never think of it. And I'm like, damn it, mine is broken. Everyone else's husband is doing it.
I think that's a green flag.
My husband did it. He was like, why are you asking me that? I've never thought about that in my life. My son, who is 11, was like, I think about it at least once a month. I was like, why? At least once a month. Why would you do that? And he's like, probably school. I was like, okay.
I didn't record the beginning of the question, but I did record as he started explaining himself, because he goes, just thought about it like last week. And I go, why? And he goes, because Halloween. And I was like, I don't
get the correlation at all.
I need you to explain that jump, brother.
How are they related?
Well, I have it all recorded, and he went into this whole big long thing about some kind of a Roman celebration and Sam Hain, which we did an episode about Halloween, and I was like, hey, you could have just listened to us. You didn't. I don't know where you got your information.
But we had it compacted in a fun way 3 years ago.
But I need you guys to post these videos. We need to post these videos ASAP.
Hey, I will. I'll tag you in it.
That's one thing we're butt shit at, is promoting ourselves.
I will
and,
say, as much as two people who are now our lives are social media roundabout, we're very bad. Like, I wish I was better.
But it feels a lot of imposter syndrome.
I was going to say it's a lot of growing up in small town and still thinking like those people from high school are going to watch what I posted and like make fun of me in a weird way. I don't know why that's what I think.
They 100%
they probably
will.
100% will.
I love
You just have to be like,
that.
whatever, drink it in, ladies. Anyway. Like, just go with it.
Yeah. Hope you like this. Enjoy.
Because you have a pretty large social media following on Instagram.
Yes,
is
I am
that
very famous.
From like
freaking get it?
All 324,000 of those are all my Emmys.
There you go.
That's all my Emmys.
These are all my Emmys.
So, as someone who like has established themselves pretty firmly on that platform and like elsewhere, do you have any advice?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice?
First of all, you guys don't need my advice. You are killing it on, like, I've seen your social media. I've seen your TikToks. Ladies, I am in TikTok jail right now. I don't know what is going on. What TikTok got I pissed off. Oh my God. I literally used to get
shadow banned?
They say it doesn't exist, but I'm almost positive. I'm like, you can't tell me that I go from hundreds of thousands of views on each video to 200. Like, you cannot tell me.
We've gone through
bonkers.
That shit happens to us. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That we'll have something go so insanely viral to where we're getting millions and millions and millions of views, and then we're getting less than 10,000 views on the next video. It's wild.
I'm writing a strongly worded letter to Dr. Algorithm tomorrow.
As you should. Give me his phone number when you get it, because I have a few
I'll find it from you as well.
But like, seriously, it's so frustrating because you put, we put work into our content and, for our podcast, for our funny videos, whatever. And for me, it's the lack of consistency. Like, I've been producing the same mediocre content for years. And it used to do really well. And now I'm annoyed because something has changed. And all the like social media gurus are like, oh, you just need to step up your game and like make more engaging, content. And I'm like,
bootstraps bullshit. No. They say post more, which is fine, but then I don't want to post my good stuff because then what if it does shit? Like, then I'm going to be mad because I spent all that time. That was a good clip. And now it goes, it tanks. And then the one about me losing my appendix gets on the Daily Mail. What the hell?
There you go. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no rhyme or reason. No. And people who are saying that they know the key, they know the strategy and the key and all this stuff, I feel like are just repeating what each one are saying. Like, they're repeating their own talking points. I don't know. I wish I knew, or in the early days, as I took off in the early days of Instagram, and I had a lot of success on Instagram. And then all of that has come to a dramatic standstill. Because I used to have another podcast. It was called Motherhood in Hollywood. And that was my first baby. And I interviewed mostly moms, but parents in the entertainment industry, and talk to them about how they juggle their love of the entertainment industry and being an actor, performer, or being in the show business with their love of their family, because it's not, the two don't always line up with crazy hours, inconsistent work, the freelance sort of nature of being in the entertainment industry is not always conducive to being a mom and being a parent. Right. So I did about 250 episodes of Motherhood in Hollywood. And then I just was like, I'm fried. I need a break. So I took about a year off, and then I launched Brooker Family Popcast. But when I first started Motherhood in Hollywood, that's when I started taking off on Instagram and building an audience there. And it was all very like mom centric, entertainment related content. And my content, it hasn't really changed that much. Like, I'm still just me. But I think what's happened now is that there's so many people on social media. There's so many people trying to make a living on social media. So many people sharing content that it's so oversaturated on all the platforms, like TikTok. When we first started, like, I saw that you guys took off. Was it in 2021? You had some viral videos that just like shot you into the stratosphere. So in 2020, nobody was on TikTok in early 2020, you guys, but we were all at home and we were all like this is a fun thing to do. Let's just be goofy. No one's watching, you know?
Yes.
And now everybody's on TikTok. There's TikTok, every celebrity, all the, like, Tom Cruise is on TikTok, you guys. How dumb. Like, it's everyone is on it.
It's doing what? Scaling buildings? Tom Cruise, what are you doing?
Running. So it's just bonkers to me. So, like, there's just so much, there's so much content, and there's so many people making content that you literally are, like, fighting for eyeballs, fighting for interest. Like, all of a sudden there was all these, like, you know, I'm a mom comic, and all of a sudden there's all these mom comedians. I'm like, where did you guys come from? I thought it was just me.
Right.
But they're everywhere. Everybody, you know, because everybody can be funny now online, and they should share it. But it's just so saturated with eyeballs now. So I wish I had, like, a magic formula, but I think maybe my time has come and gone, and I need to just blow up my social media and start again.
I was a teacher before I was a photographer, before I did this. And so I have had people ask me, like, okay, can you teach me how to become a photographer? Like, I can teach you how to use your camera. Like, I plan on teaching her how to use a camera. But
I really like it.
And even with the podcast, we've had a lot of people reach out to us and be like, how do I start? What did you guys do?
What's the golden ticket, kind of?
My dad was talking to me one day, and he was saying, like, you could monetize that. You could, because that's, I think, a huge thing in the social media space, is coming up with classes.
Sure.
And here, okay, selling a masterclass of how to do this. But I almost feel like I'd be selling snake oil.
Yeah.
Well, it's like almost, it feels like not a lie, but like,
I know you're not going to do what I
didn't mean to do it. Yeah, like, and also we didn't do it intentionally.
Right.
Sure.
Nothing we did was a plot to get millions of views.
And not that I wouldn't want someone else to do it. It's not like I'm gatekeeping this information, but I think that I would be doing people a disservice by being like, okay, here's your step to stardom, XYZ, follow these.
It worked for me. It'll definitely work for you.
That just feels wrong. Yeah. Because people would buy it.
Yeah.
We would make money.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
There are those social media gurus out there, and I see them pop up a lot on my For You page, but also on Instagram and that sort of thing, telling you, like, here's what you need to do these steps. I don't know that there is a magic formula. I think some people genuinely need guidance, because I too have had so many people ask, how do I start a podcast? How do I begin?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to teach a class on podcast. There's other people who would be much better at that than I am. But there is no one way, you know, one specific way, one specific path for your success. I think one thing that everybody leans on says, just be genuine. And that's something you guys do really well. You're obviously very comfortable in who you are, your viewpoint, your perspective, but you're also, like, just genuinely funny and entertaining, you know, which I think is, when I watch some of the other, like, popular podcasts, it feels like people are not being genuine. They're worried too much about, like, posing or getting, like, major celebrities on, and they're worried about the viral moment. They're going for that viral moment. That's something very popular in entertainment reporting too. Entertainment reporters now, instead of asking thoughtful questions to the people they're interviewing, they are asking surprising questions or something to try to catch their interviewee off guard so they can get that viral moment.
Right.
So being genuine on any platform, I think, in my opinion, is one of the biggest things that will help propel you to that level that, you know, you want to be at. That's just my non-professional opinion.
I agree.
Very professional opinion. But that just goes back to what you said in the beginning of introducing yourself as Heather Brooker. Like, you are promoting yourself
as who you are
from your introduction, like, even in real life, not online, just because it translates everywhere. And I think that's one thing that has been helpful for us and helpful for anyone who really does make it to that point of success on social media with longevity, is all of those pieces, no matter where they are the same. Yeah. You're going to get the same version of us no matter where you go, whether it's in person, on our TikTok, on our Instagram. Like, it's going to be the same across the board. Unless you are telling people I'm playing a character, then they know
Yeah.
that to expect
That's who they're expecting. Yeah.
But if you are not going to be consistent in that way, it's going to deplete you of your energy really, really fast.
It was so
Yeah.
funny because in the beginning of the podcast, when things started taking off, we had just a lot of unsolicited advice, which was like, great, we get it. You came from a good place. But we would get people, I remember one specifically that was like, they should wear less clothing and there should be like moments where they're like almost like sexualizing it. And I was like,
was this like your husband telling you this? Who was this?
God, no, not my husband at all.
No. Well, he was telling me that not on camera, but
no, God, no.
That's a different place.
But it was a man. I will say it was a man who was like, it was a Gen Z or Gen X, almost boomer man who was saying that that's how you'll get views. You'll get a lot of clicks that way. And it's like, that's great. That's absolutely not who we want to follow us, though. I don't care about the clicks as much as I care about the people who are going to genuinely listen to us. Well, yeah. And I don't want that to be, that's not who I am. So why would I sell you something fake?
I'm not baiting anybody.
No,
with my body.
This isn't a clickbait situation. I just want you to know I'm here to have a good time.
I'm honestly genuinely surprised when like middle-aged men follow me. I'm like, do they see my content?
Yes.
Like, why was this a mistake?
In the right place?
I feel like we accidentally. Yeah, I want to be like, are you okay? Like, I can only assume that you're gay. Like, that's all I can assume.
Yes. And if they're not, there's two kinds of middle-aged men. One who came to tell us that we're wrong, bad, stupid, should stop laughing as much, and we don't know what we're talking about.
But they love to follow us and still tell us that. They will still.
Or they're going to give
kink, some weird validation.
I think so.
It does.
Or they give us the old, good for you, sweetheart.
Good job, girls.
You're
doing it, honey.
Thanks for the validation I didn't need.
The cheerleading, the little cheer on. They're cheering you on. The support.
You know what's fun is that they'll always put these little quips in there where they're like, it's not for me and I don't really listen, but I love what you girls are doing. It's like, well, so you're kind of, why are you here then?
Thanks for boosting my
not
algorithm.
For me, and I actually hate everything you do, but good on you.
Well, that was another thing that I wanted to ask you is like with bringing Channing into the space, obviously that being a really big topic of conversation.
I'm curious
is like anyone
just
having
people.
access, but like because you came from the entertainment industry, you were not unfamiliar to what this world can do. Sure. I think a lot of times it's shocking and jarring, and if you don't know what to expect, it can be a lot. And so you having all of that experience and your husband having that experience of being in that space, do you think it's been an asset to help you prepare Channing for anything that could come with being in the public eye?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, like you said, anytime you're in the public eye, you don't know who's watching, from where they're watching. I have always been hyper aware that strangers that we don't know are watching our lives.
Right. Yeah.
So I make a concentrated effort to, whenever we're posting about something, I don't ever post in real time. I don't ever post and go, hey, I'm here now live at this place. It's usually after we're gone, hours after we're gone, or days after we're gone. I don't share anything particularly personal about her life in particular. Where she goes to school. I'm hyper aware of, she does a lot of plays and stuff like that. I don't share where her play is. If it's in a big public, like, if it's a school play, I definitely don't share that. But if it's like a local theater or something, that's a little bit different. But, I'm just super vigilant and probably more aware of it, than I think maybe a lot of people. And I don't mean that to sound braggy, but also because
because you have that experience.
For me, it comes from the fact that I worked in news and television news for many, many years.
Yes.
And I have written many stories and covered many stories about kids who have been followed, tracked, contacted, and, even worse things have happened to them through social media and through strangers following them online. Parents, and I have always been incredibly vocally against parents posting anything where their kids are in a state of undress. Whether you think, oh, this is a cute little picture of my naked baby, don't put it on the internet, because some pervo will find it and they will keep it forever and share it with their friends. And it's so important that parents don't do that. And yet I still see people doing it, and it makes me crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm hyper aware of those types of things. I'm also very aware of the fact that one day my daughter is going to be an adult. And I don't ever want to post anything of her or share anything of her online that could one day embarrass her as the human person and contributing member of society that I hope that she will be. I don't ever want her to look back on her life and go, Mom, why did you share that? That's really private. Or why did you do this? So we share our lives, but that train of thought is always running in the back of my mind. Protect her safety first. I would rather show a goofy video of myself rather than something of us together that maybe doesn't paint her in the best light. You know, somebody asked me one time, like, why don't you ever show her, like, you know, somebody made some kind of reference to like, oh, she must be perfect. And I'm like, she's not perfect. Nobody is perfect. She definitely has her bad days, but I don't need to post that on the internet for everyone to see.
Why would I?
Why would I? That's embarrassing. I would hate that if somebody, you know, like on my worst day, if somebody posted me on the internet crying or being upset or being, you know, throwing a fit or whatever, like I wouldn't want that either.
Right.
So I think it's just a general awareness that I try to have that she's going to be an adult one day. And I don't want her to look back and be embarrassed on any of our times together or anything that I've shared of our lives together. So,
yeah, I love that. That's
and
very
I think
good.
You both being in a position where the world has had access to you in so many different ways, it kind of prepares you, I would think, to be like, okay, just because someone says something and has a comment about the way that you look or the way that you talk or the things that you're interested in doesn't mean that their reality gets to transfer to you.
And again, that is probably a good thing that she has you together to navigate those things, so that I will say when things started blowing up for us, that was one of the things that I was like, who do I turn to? We talk to each other a lot because I was like, nobody understands the amount of like criticism that we were getting in a really weird way that was like, what is happening? But
I also can't imagine going through, because my parents, I'm 32. My parents don't understand this.
No.
And if I was 14 going through this, they still wouldn't understand it. I think it's just so wonderful that she has both of you who at least have
to navigate that in a
yeah,
healthy way.
Have had experience having a presence online, because not a lot of parents, Gen X, Boomer, whatever, do have that kind of presence online.
Yeah. And unfortunately, as much as we want to protect them from it, it's going to happen whether we're there or not. There's going to be not great things that happen online that they're a part of. So I think it's nice to be able to guide them through it.
Yeah. And I have to say too, you know, when I started Motherhood in Hollywood, I had a guest on the show, a woman by the name of Glozell. Do you know who Glozell is? She's a very famous YouTuber. She's very funny. You guys should check her out if you ever want to have her on. She's a very funny lady who was one of the OG YouTube comedians, I guess. YouTube funny skits, funny sketches. And I remember I interviewed her and I asked her too, like, how do you handle the trolls? Because I mean, back then, I mean, even now, like people just are relentless. Ripping women, especially women, apart when they're trying to do something funny and creative. Like, and everybody just likes to dogpile. So I asked her, I was like, what do you do? And she's like, I just block and delete and move on. There's nothing that says you have to allow these people on your page, in your platform, in your life. You are not beholden to the TikTok gods or the Instagram, you know, powers that be that says, oh, I have to allow this crazy person access to my platform. It's your page. It's your content. Block and delete and move on and be like, you're going to come on and call me names or tell me how to run my business. We're done. Bye. So I want to empower everybody to do that.
100%. I remember deleting a shitty comment that we got like pretty early on, and the person DM'd us and was like, oh, you deleted my comment? That just makes me feel like you know that it's true even more, blah, blah, blah. And I went back and forth kind of, and you did as well. And then I remember being like, why are we entertaining this? Hey, let's just block this person, because nothing that we say is gonna, they think that they're right. And I'm not trying to change your mind at this point. I just want you to know that you don't get to have access to me anymore. How about and it was so much better than I started doing that on TikTok. Every negative comment we got, I went to their page, block, done. I don't need you in our TikTok. You're not going to, you're not doing value. Anything for us. So I'm not even letting your words sink into my life anymore. Exactly. It's just, oh, you're shitty and bye. Yeah.
You're shitty and bye. A lot of times, thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great day.
And goodbye.
That women are like meant to make other people feel comfortable. And part of that is like apologizing for stuff that they didn't even do wrong. And so I feel like in spaces like that, my initial go-to would be to
try to explain myself
or apologize or change my action.
Sure.
But I don't do that anymore. I don't feel that anymore. And I think
I'm not trying to get you on my side. I don't care that you're on my side.
Having an adult in my life, if I were still a tween, to back me on that would have been instrumental. So I'm like, bravo to you. And I hope any other parent out there is like also going to support their child and being like, hey, not even a stranger on the internet. It could be your shitty uncle.
Yeah.
Guess what? Cut him out. You don't need him. Bye.
Yes. I'm in favor of that too. If there's people in your life physically, not just online too, that make you feel bad for what you're doing, then you don't need them. You don't need that. There's so much negativity already in the world. Like, to have somebody in your life who's trying to tear you down in some way is also not good. Just let them go. Life is too short.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I have one other question for you.
Yeah.
And it is, what's your favorite Snoop Dogg song?
I know that you like gangster rap.
How much time do you have? How much time do you have?
Hey,
hold on. I got to put my hair up for
this. We got so much time. Yeah. The way that she got me so pumped for this interview by telling me, she was like, just so you know, I did watch, and I think she loves gangster rap. She loves Snoop Dogg specifically. And I was like, are we twin flames? Because I feel like that's me. I love. Go ahead.
I mean, listen, I grew up on all the OG gangster rap. Like, I listened to NWA. Do you guys know what that is? Am I old lady for saying that?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I just sort of outed myself as like really terrible. All right. So I grew up on all of the Dr. Dre, The Chronic, was my first album, and I listened to it front to back, cover to cover all the time. My friends and I used to go
the only album I have
cruising, cruising down the street with our subwoofer,
my 6-4,
knocking the bitches, slapping the host.
Yeah.
Anyway, that being said, I do love Gin and Juice. I mean, that's a classic.
Yes.
Yes. I love Drop It Like It's Hot. There's not a moment in time that Drop It Like It's Hot doesn't come on, and I'm not like, drop it like it's hot. Like, I'm all of a sudden like, ooh,
feral. Yes.
I'm like, so anything honestly from The Chronic. Every song from The Chronic is just my
gold.
Favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I feel that.
I mean, who am I?
I mean, same.
Also, you can't forget about Doggy Style too. Doggy Style was a good one.
I really like what he did on the Storybots when he was just on, because now he's on children's Netflix shows.
Isn't that fun?
What a left turn he has taken. Right? Like, he's also like coaching elementary football and like
Little League.
It's
so
football.
Good. But
wholesome.
My husband he doesn't understand gangster rap the way that I do. And I get it. That's fine. You grew up in a different way. The amount of times I made him watch Straight Outta Compton, though, I was like, I just need you to feel what I felt back in the day.
I'm coming straight out of Compton.
You won't, but I just need you. so good. So yeah, all of those. I would say the Tonic is one of.
Yeah, there's something about that music that really spoke to white girls in the Midwest. I'm like, I don't know. If we were their target
poor
demographic.
White girls in the Midwest. I was like, I don't know if that was.
I don't know if we were their target demo, but it spoke to me like nobody's business.
It did. I was like, I feel that. I do feel what you're saying. My electricity has also been shut off so many times.
I can't wait for that to be the title of this episode.
No, it was on another level. Still to this day, I'm like, do I have any depth? No, it's gangster rap, and I'm sorry. That's all I have in my life. You want to get in my car? Okay, just know what you're getting into.
Understand
what you're going to listen to.
Yeah. You got D's nuts. You got nothing but a G thing. You got they're all so good. There's so good. Literally.
See, I'm very much the polar opposite. Oh, that was another thing I was going to tell you that. So Channing and Noah have this in common as well, that they both like Imagine Dragons.
Oh, big Imagine Dragons fan. Huge.
So yeah. Dude, so I'm just saying, if they want to be friends, that they
play the same games,
really could be. Noah's a huge Imagine Dragons fan.
I was gonna say, have her invite Noah to the Roblox server.
I was gonna say he plays games all the time, and I'm always like weird about. I'm like, who are you on? I'll come into his room and I'm like, who are you talking to on the headset? Like, I don't like. So I would.
Yeah, we want to know.
The gangster rap comes in. She goes, "Who's on there right now?"
Do you remember Automobile? Do you remember the song Automobile?
I sure do.
You don't have to front on me, bitch. I used to blare that, blast that as a 15-year-old, on my way to church. Like, what is wrong with me?
The only appropriate song to ride up to church to.
I know.
So good.
And then I used to listen to Two Life Crew. It was bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what was wrong with me, but my mom had reason to be concerned.
So did mine. I
think there was a lot right with you. That's what I'm hearing.
One of my, I think it was 5th grade, I was asking for a Snoop Dogg CD, Tech 9, and then there was another one, Missy Elliott's The Under Construction, and I was like, I need that, but I don't want the censored version, Mom. I'm not a pussy.
We need to
put
swear.
an E on that. Yes,
it's so funny.
She was
okay. I used to listen to all of this hardcore rap and hip hop and stuff, but my mom threw away my Bon Jovi album because it was evil.
What? Come on, Mom.
No lie. My mom was like, well, they said in church that this rock and roll band is of the devil, so give me your cassette tape. And I was like, oh! But meanwhile, I've got NWA, The Chronic, Two Life Crew.
Well, now I need to know.
I had Eazy-E's album. Huh?
Are you from Minnesota? Or are you
no,
from
I did
Wisconsin?
in Minnesota. Usually I do. My mom is real kind of. I'm from Oklahoma, and she's like, Heather, they said at church that you cannot listen to the John Bon Jovi, and I need you to give me your album so that you don't go to hell. I'm like, okay, Mom.
I'm trying to save your soul, Heather.
Save your
Give
soul.
me the John Bon Jovi.
Now get into church and tell them what you did. Like,
Mom,
so yeah,
that's not John Bon Jovi. It's John Banjo V.
Banjo
Let me keep it.
Yeah, she made me give away my John Bon Jovi album, which made me so sad. But I got to keep
They
all
tried
my
to do that with me in Harry Potter. And I was like, hey, I'm in 4th grade, so leave me alone.
Remember, everyone was so against Harry Potter.
Let me wait until I'm an adult and get angry at J.K. Rowling so I can throw them away myself.
Yeah. Give me some time. I'll get there.
I'll get there myself.
Not for the same reason as you. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, Heather, thank you for coming on.
Hey, this has been wonderful.
This has been so
Will
great.
You
guys are so awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So You guys can find me on Instagram at the Heather Brooker, on TikTok, and pretty much everywhere else at Heather Brooker. Check out our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts on every major podcast player, and you can get up to date with our shenanigans at brookerfamilypopcast.com.
Love it. I'm definitely going to have listen, I'm so excited to have a podcast that I can listen to with Noah. Because again, it was very like we were listening to Story Pirates. That was great. But they were very centered towards young children. And Noah's like, I need a more adult
something that I can relate to.
But less F word.
Literally, so. My daughter makes that's what she said jokes all the time. And I'm like, am I failing as a parent? Or is this funny? Or am I failing? Like,
when I tell you she will be best friends with Noah, like, that is so him.
I love it.
Love it.
Well, thanks everyone for hanging out. Please go listen to the Brooker Family Popcast. Go follow Heather Brooker with the ER.
Yes.
And or venture to the other one as well if you want. We don't kink shame.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your time.
But we'll see you next week.
Thank you,
We're
ladies.
out.
All right.
Goodbye. Thank you.